average 62 hours a week. Since 2010, would you please write this down? Since 2010, this is 2014, since 2010, 17 teenagers have committed suicide at the iPhone plant. 17 have committed suicide at the iPhone plant. Watch this, jumping off the roof of the assembly plant. What did they do? They did not bring in crisis management. They did not bring in intervention. They did not supply counselors. What they did, ladies and gentlemen, is they put around the factory in China a suicide net. So that if you jump off the roof, the net would catch you. As a consequence, watch this, they have now forced all the employees who work at the assembly plant in China to sign a waiver that if anything happens to them on the job or if they commit suicide, nobody in the family can sue. After the raw materials for phones are mined, watch this, by underpaid and overworked Congolese children. And then those materials are assembled by underpaid and overworked Chinese teenagers. It is then shipped to American malls. The average young person who is, in fact, the Apple specialist at the Apple bar, watch this, is barely making $1 to $2.50 over minimum wage. So the average worker at the Apple store is only pulling in $24,000 to $26,000 a year. What is interesting, ladies and gentlemen, when you get home and you draw out the map from Congo to Belgium, Belgium to America, it is the exact same stops of the slave trade. They are mimicking, watch this, the 18th century triangular trade of slaves from rum, cotton, and textile. Now we're in 2014. It is not rum, cotton, and textile. It is technology. I want you all to stay with me, please. We're at a place, watch this, that as a consequence, the iPhone should actually be called iSlave. Because it is in fact putting two different new emerging generations into illegal slavery. So while the technology is great and the design is sleek, the impact on the Congolese and Chinese children refuses to allow me to contribute to the affront on the dignity of humanity. Cutting edge technology does not make up for modern day slavery. I want, God knows I do, I really do, I want the iPhone 6. But there's too much that comes with it. And when I think about all that our ancestors had to sacrifice and labor with good conscience, there is no phone call that is worth it. To know that 6 million daughters and mothers are being raped so I can play words with friends, so I can update Facebook, so I can send out a message on Twitter. There's too much that comes with it. In our text, there's a man of noble estate. In scripture, his name is Naaman. And he's only got one thing wrong with him. He's done well in his career. He's happily married. He has, in fact, arisen in the ranks of his profession. There's just one thing wrong. And the one thing wrong with him, ladies and gentlemen, is that they say he has leprosy. Now, this causes a problem for me because leprosy is highly contagious. And according to Leviticus, which is the book of the law, if in fact you are in fact diagnosed with leprosy, you shouldn't even intermingle with the general population. When you come in contact with other people, you are by law supposed to yell unclean. You are supposed to, watch this, live with people who are as sick as you. You are, in fact, a living, breathing threat to the health and the safety of the environment. Here it is. And by law of the church, you shouldn't be around people. Now, the reason why this causes us a conflict is that when we find Naaman, he is not in a leprous colony. He is around people. Watch this. He is serving in the armed forces. He is at home with his wife. But they told us leprosy would kill you. Pastor, why are you bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because somewhere I heard about a disease called Ebola. And I don't know whether you realize it or not, Ebola comes from the Congo. But I'm trying to figure out with a rational mind, how if it starts in the Congo, are they shutting down Liberia? Y'all still not waking it up? How are they shutting down Sierra Leone if it's such a threat? How are white doctors getting healed? And the whole black nations are dying out. If in fact this is a threat to national security and somebody is sick in DC, why are you not taking them to the military hospital? You leave them at Howard Hospital? Y'all ain't talking back to me. That's where you taking them? And here he is with something that's supposed to kill everybody around him. He's got a virus, but he's working. He's got a virus, but he's around the family. He's got a virus, watch this, and a little girl lives in the house. And none of them have symptoms. I'm getting ready to stretch your faith today. Here it is. Could it possibly be, yes, he had the virus, which is a reflection of brokenness. I hope you can handle it here. But he has such authority over his brokenness, he refuses to let his brokenness get other people sick. Some of y'all ain't there yet. I know everybody in here try to act like you saved, whole, and delivered, but there are few of us that say, Rev, I still got some stuff with me, but I'm true to what it is that's wrong with me, and I got enough power not to infect other people with my issue. And here Naaman is. Here he is, and he ain't supposed to be around anybody. And I came to tell just a small group of you in this room, hallelujah, God is getting ready to heal the stuff inside of you. Hallelujah. I can't find any worshipers. Maybe you'll shout over this. God says, I'm going to heal the stuff that is in you. Watch this. So your children don't contract your brokenness. That whatever is going on with you, it is not going to contaminate your house. He's high ranking in the Pentagon. Naaman is, and his wife has an assistant who's a young slave girl. And she says to the woman of the house, you got a great husband, he's a great man, but he's got an issue of brokenness. I know how he can get better. Get him to the man of God. Hallelujah. I'm trying not to run through this church, but God told me to tell you, hallelujah, you got a man in your life, hallelujah, that's got great potential, but you keeping him in your bed sick. If you can get him into the presence of God, everything that's out of order in that man's life is getting ready to line up with his will, but you aiding and abetting a leprous man. He's got leprosy. He's in the military. He's at home with his wife. But I've got to question how contagious it is. Why, Pastor? Because he now has an audience with the king. If you are leprous and is contagious, how do they let you close to the king? Either, y'all ain't talking back to me, either they don't really think you that sick, or they don't mind the president dying. Which brings me to the breach in Secret Service. Y'all don't want me to preach today. That you ain't ever gonna have that kind of open door policy on somebody you care about. I don't want just the head to resign. I want all of them clowns in the elevator with them to be fired. How do you let somebody? Says, I got to get you to the king, even though you're sick. I'm going to put you in front of him, even though you're a risk. And the president sees his potential, even though he has been typecast with a condition. And says, this is what I'm getting ready to do for you. I'm getting ready to write a letter so you can travel with it. Because what you need isn't even here. Thank you. For those of you who have ears to hear, I hope that you can handle what I heard God say. That right now, a letter is being written for you. You don't have to shout if I'm not talking to you, but he told me to tell just those of you whose spirit responded that a letter's being written right now on your behalf. Not you. Let me say to you, he said a letter of acceptance, a letter of endorsement. He's knocking on the door, and Elisha won't let him in. He said, this is Naaman. I'm a high-ranking official in the army, and I got a letter from the king saying you got the power to heal me. What are you going to do? And Elisha says to him from the speaker system, go find the Jordan River and go dip in it 7 times. Naaman said, you must not know who I am. I got high security clearance. Everybody knows my rank and my file. And Elisha said, I don't care who you are to them. I need you to please go in the Jordan River. And Naaman gets indignant and said, there's 3 other bodies of water that are closer. Can I get in those? Those are cleaner and more commensurate to my status. And Elisha said to him, no, that ain't what God said. He says he needs you to go down into the Jordan River. I don't know who I'm talking to. I ain't even preaching to you. I'm talking to somebody behind you. God told me to tell you, I won't deliver you until you get delivered from something dirty. If you ain't been through nothing, you ain't qualified for the next level. But I need some people who can testify. Rev, you don't want to know how dirty I got when I was out in the world. All I know is he cleaned me up, and I don't look like what I came out of. Y'all ain't been through nothing dirty, B. Hallelujah. You ain't been through nothing grimy. You ain't been through nothing shady and seedy. But if you came through some nasty stuff, and you know, God, if I hadn't been through that, I wouldn't be in church this morning. But I had to be dipped in some dirty stuff. You see that, please? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Some of y'all don't know why those 19 people are shouting. It's because you don't know the dirt they came out of. Hallelujah. Please don't get it twisted. I ain't always been in church, but I done come a long way. It may not mean nothing to you, but you don't know what my Old Testament looked like. I've been some stuff I don't even want to talk about, but he picked me up. Be seated, please, son. And here's what's amazing. He dips in dirty water 7 times. You know by now 7 is the number of completion. I hope y'all don't tear up this church. We still got